evening, students. Hope I'm audible, right?
Yes, sir.
So, what was the last topic we were seeing?
Magnetic field due to a circular current.
Magnetic field due to a circular current carrying coil. We have completed. No, that part is over. So then we started. What will happen when a charged particle is projected into the magnetic field? Right. So this was the last concept that we started. So I started with the concept called as Lorentz force. So do you guys remember this? Let's just recollect this stuff and then we'll go to the next topic. Okay. So motion of a charged particle in uniform magnetic field. That is when a charged particle is projected into a uniform magnetic field, then it starts experiencing a force whose value is given by the expression F vector is equal to Q into V vector cross B vector, which is called as the Lorentz force for magnetic field. Okay. Then we saw what will happen when a charged particle is projected perpendicular to the magnetic field. So let's say there is a uniform magnetic field that is existing, which is into the plane, and a charged particle is projected into the magnetic field in the direction perpendicular to it. Then what is going to be the value of force experienced by it and the path followed by it? That's what the question is. Right. So we will get the answer as QVB sine 90. Right? The Lorentz force is QVB sine 90 because the angle between velocity vector and the magnetic field is 90 degrees. So F is equal to QVB. Since the force, because you're doing the cross product between V vector and V vector, since the force is going to be perpendicular to both V vector and V vector, always, the particle is going to revolve in a circular path, or rather I can say it is going to be in a uniform circular motion. And we know that for any particle to be in uniform circular motion, the necessary force is the centripetal force, which is given by the value mv square divided by r, right? So q into v into b is equal to mv square by r. If you write it, then you will get the radius of the circular path to be mv divided by qb. Okay, so r is equal to mv divided by qb is the required answer. I hope it is clear till this step, guys. Now comes an important question. So what will happen if the charged particle is projected at an angle other than 0 degrees, 90 or 180 degrees with respect to magnetic field? So write down the heading. Path of a charged particle projected at an angle other than 0 degree, 90 or 180 degrees. What is going to happen? Okay. So let's say there is a magnetic field which is into the plane and the particle is projected at an angle theta. So wait. Let me make it even more simple. Okay. Let's say there is a uniform magnetic field existing like this. And the charged particle is projected at an angle theta. Right. So what can you do to this velocity? So what will happen to this velocity? This can be resolved into two components. One is v cos theta, and the second is v sin theta. Right. Now observe v cos theta is called as the v perpendicular component. Accepted. Why I'm calling it as v perpendicular? You can ask me, it is perpendicular to what? It is perpendicular to the magnetic field. Similarly, v sin theta can be called as v parallel. Accepted. Right. So due to v cos theta component, I repeat, due to v cos theta component, the particle will move in a circular path. Why? Why is the particle going to move in a circular path? Due to the v cos theta component. Why is it so, guys? Because last concept told us when the velocity and the magnetic field are perpendicular to each other, it is going to move in a circular path, and radius of the circular path will be equal to how much? M into V divided by Q into B. Here I will write it as V perpendicular. That is the only difference. So M into V perpendicular divided by QB. M into V perpendicular is nothing but V cos theta divided by Q into B. Guys, are you clear with this? Sorry. Why none of you told me that? V sin theta is perpendicular and V cos theta is the parallel component. M into V sin theta divided by QB. Right. So let this be equation number 1. Is there any doubt till this step?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, due to V cos theta component, now you guys tell me, applying the formula of Lorentz force, F is equal to Q Sorry, I had some network issue. Again, I will show my screen. What was the last point you are? What was the last point we discussed before the connection got lost? Radius of the circular path is what we finished, right? Now I'm asking, due to this V cos theta component, you guys apply the Lorentz force F is equal to Q into V vector cross D vector, and tell me what is going to be the path followed by the particle. Okay. F is equal to Q into V vector plus V vector. Tell me what will happen due to the V cos theta component. What is there in this? How is velocity vector and magnetic field? Why is that nobody wants to apply your thoughts? What is the angle between velocity V cos theta and B according to the diagram? How much is it?
Sir, can you just repeat the question? I couldn't hear you.
I'm saying due to V cos theta component, what is going to be the path followed by the particle?
Is it rotational?
No, don't guess it. Be sure. I gave you the formula. Your work is only to substitute. Plug in the formula and check. F is equal to Q into V vector cross B vector. Or it is going to be Q into Vp sine of alpha, where alpha is the angle between velocity vector and B vector. Now look at the diagram. How is V cos theta and B?
Parallel, sir.
Then, so if they're parallel, what will happen? What is the value of alpha?
Zero.
If you plug in 0, what is going to happen? Force will be
zero.
That's it. Why are you people struggling to tell that 0? When force is 0, okay, when force is 0, what will happen to the particle?
Does not move, sir.
It moves. It will move. When force is 0, it is acceleration that is 0. Because F is equal to ma. So acceleration is 0. What can I say? Due to the V cos theta component, particle moves in a straight line path with a constant velocity. Okay. So due to V cos theta, it will be in circular path, and due to V cos theta, due to V sin theta, it will be in circular path, and due to V cos theta, is going to be in the straight line path. So before it completes the circle itself, the particle will be pushed to the right. Then what will happen? It will start moving in a path like this, which is called as helical path. Means the particle will have a combined circular and a translatory motion, which is called as the helical path. Guys, I'll tell you one thing. I'm just telling you, if you guys are not going to interact, class is going to be like this only. I'll keep telling and you'll not understand anything. See, when I've given you hints also, if people are not ready to think, I've shown the diagram and I'm asking you, what is wrong? You're going to learn nothing new from me. That's what I want to say. Just going to listen to what I'm going to say and you'll go. Instead, I'll give you a recorded video itself. I can record it better than this. Trust me. I'm here only to interact, no? But what is happening? So it is going to be helical path. Okay. So here, two important points to be noted is radius is m into v sin theta divided by qd. Okay, and this horizontal distance that is existing is what is called as pitch. Means the horizontal distance that is going to exist between two subsequent spiral parts is what we call it as pitch. So pitch is defined like this: distance traveled by the particle in, I can say it as horizontal distance. Horizontal distance traveled by the particle in one complete revolution. In one complete revolution is what we call it as pitch. So pitch is equal to parallel component of velocity into time period, because pitch is horizontal distance. Distance is equal to speed into time. So the time taken for one complete revolution is what we call it as time period. So what is the value of V parallel? It is going to be V cos theta into what is the time period is. That is what we need to find, right? So for time period, what we are going to do is, listen, for time period, we will calculate it like this. Okay. I'll go back to the previous topic. So we know that the radius of the circular path is mv divided by qb, no? For this circular path, if I ask you what is time period, what are you going to tell me? So time period is equal to distance by speed. What is the distance of the particle, guys? So when a particle, the previous topic was charged particle projected perpendicular to the magnetic field. Okay, if I have to calculate the time period here, how much is the distance traveled by the particle? Is it not 2 pi r? In one complete revolution, it completes a circle 2 pi r divided by the speed of the particle is v. Right? This is going to be 2 pi into, but what is the value of r? It is mv divided by qb, the whole divided by v. So v and v will get cancelled. It is going to be 2 pi into m divided by q into b. Please make a note of this point.
Answer.
Okay. So if you observe an important point here, when a particle is revolving in a circular path, right, time period is independent of velocity. Time period is independent of velocity. So the same time period is applicable here also. V cos theta into, you would have seen the value now, 2 pi m divided by qb. So the answer is 2 pi mv cos theta, the whole divided by qb. So the time period is equal to 2 pi mv cos theta. Sorry, not time period. Sorry. I made a mistake. Wait. Time period is 2 pi m divided by qb only. Okay. If I take this value and plug in here, then I'll get pitch is equal to v cos theta into 2 pi m divided by qb. So pitch will be equal to 2 pi mv cos theta, the whole divided by qb. Okay. So this is what we call it as pitch. Okay. So I hope you guys understood what is time period. Now, if I take frequency is a reciprocal of time period. So F is equal to QB divided by M is called as the frequency, which is also called as the cyclotron frequency.
So what do you mean by cyclotron, sir?
Cyclotron is a device which we'll be learning later. Cyclotron is a device which is used to accelerate charged particles.
Okay,
Okay,
sir.
so it's a device. So the conclusion that we would have understood is, these are the conclusions, guys. Charged particle, first, when it is projected parallel to magnetic field, what will happen? So this can be a one mark question. Force is zero, which implies acceleration is zero, which implies the object moves with constant velocity or constant speed. Okay. Second, when it is projected perpendicular to magnetic field, what is the path it is going to follow? It is going to follow
Circular pathway.
circular path. It follows uniform circular motion. And what is the last one? If it is projected at an angle theta, which is not equal to 0 degrees or 90 degrees, then it is going to follow a helical path. Right? You need to have all these points in mind. Right? It is going to follow a helical path. Am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now see. Example 4.3. So radius of the path of an electron whose mass is 9 into 10 power minus 31 kilogram and charge is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 coulomb, moving with a speed of 3 into 10 power 7 meters per second in a magnetic field of 6 into 10 power minus 4 Tesla perpendicular to it. What is the frequency? Calculate its energy in kilo electron volt. So what is the formula for frequency, guys? Just now I taught.
QB by 2 pi m, sir.
That's right. QB divided by 2 pi m, where Q is the charge of the particle, B is the magnetic field of the particle, magnetic field in which the particle is moving, 2 pi is a constant, and what does m stand for? The mass of the particle. Take all those values and substitute, that is going to give you the frequency. Okay, write down the expression on your own. Okay. Next, they're asking us to calculate its energy in kilo electron volt. The only energy a moving particle is going to have is kinetic energy, half mv square. Okay, so half is half only, m is 9 into 10 power minus 31, and velocity square is how much? Velocity is 9 into 10 power minus 14 meters square per second square. By solving this, you will get the energy in terms of joule. Okay, but they have told 1 kilo electron volt, 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19. So 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joule. So 1 joule will be equal to 1 divided by 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 electron volt. So whatever answer you get divided with 1.6 into 10 power minus 19, you will get the answer in terms of electron volt, and multiply it with 3, 10 power 3, you will get it in kilo electron volt. Okay, make a note of this point.
Noted, sir.
Good. Next. So the next question is motion of combined electric and magnetic fields. Okay, this is a very, very important concept, which we also call it as velocity selector. Okay, so here we need to understand certain things. I gave you 3 points just before this, right? What are the 3 points that I gave you? When a charged particle is projected into the magnetic field, parallel to it, what will happen? It will move in a straight line path with constant speed. If it is projected perpendicular to the magnetic field, what will happen?
Circular
Move in
path.
a circular path.
Circular path. What if it is projected at some angle? It is going to move in a helical path. This is what I told. That is purely with respect to magnetic field. Okay. But now, in addition to magnetic field existing, what will happen if there is an electric field also existing? And they both should exist perpendicular to each other. Okay. This is a special case. Okay. There is electric field and magnetic field which are perpendicular to each other, and you have a charged particle in your hand. The charged particle should be released in this combined electric and magnetic field in such a way that it moves in a straight line path. I repeat, that it moves in a straight line path. Then what should be the value of the velocity of the particle is the question. Are you able to understand? So now listen to this. If suppose I have electric field existing in the y direction, okay, magnetic field existing in the positive z direction, can I say that they both are perpendicular to each other? Right? So can I say that they both are perpendicular to each other? Now comes an important question. In which direction am I supposed to give the velocity to the particle so that due to the force given by the electric field and the magnetic field will get cancelled out, so that it is able to move in the direction in which we gave the velocity to it. Okay, if you are able to achieve that kind of a scenario, what should be the value of the velocity that we need to give is also we need to calculate. Okay, now let's get started. See, if it was only electric field existing, okay, if I give velocity to the particle in this direction, what do you think would have happened to this charged particle? Due to the electric field, when a charged particle is projected into it, what will happen to it? It will start
Moving in a circular path.
move in a circular path only when it is magnetic field. When a charged particle is projected perpendicular to electric field, it will not move in a circular path. Rather, it will move in a dash path. Make a note. When a charged particle is projected perpendicular to electric field, it moves in a parabolic path. Electric field behaves something similar to gravitational field. Okay. So I repeat, charged particle projected perpendicular to electric field will move in a parabolic path. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is, had there been only electric field existing, the particle would have moved in a parabolic path. But what is our objective? We want the particle to move in a straight line path. Whichever direction you gave the velocity, we want it to go in that particular direction. For that, now what we are doing is we are introducing a magnetic field. So when the magnetic field is introduced, right, remember the velocity is perpendicular to magnetic field also. So in which direction is it going to experience force? Okay, before that I want to ask one more question. The charged particle, as soon as it enters the electric field, in which direction will it experience the force? Assuming the charged particle is positive.
Towards the electric field.
That's right. So whenever a positively charged particle is projected into the electric field, it experiences force in the direction of electric field. Perfect. Now, I have a magnetic field in Z direction. Remember, I have a magnetic field in Z direction whose value is B. And the velocity of the particle is given in X direction. What will be the direction of force experienced by this particle? Tell me the value and the direction using Lorentz force. Guys, I asked a very simple question. What is the direction of magnetic force due to the existing magnetic field in Z direction and the velocity in X direction?
So the force will be towards the magnetic field, sir.
It cannot be towards magnetic field because you're doing cross product. I've told you guys many times, whenever you do cross product between two vectors, what will be the direction of resultant?
The opposite direction.
It will be in the direction perpendicular to the magnetic field. It will be in the direction perpendicular to both the vectors for which you're doing the cross product. Never forget this, guys. I've told you to revise and come. Cross product is always, whenever you do cross product between two vectors, the resultant will always be in the direction perpendicular to both the vectors for which you're doing the cross product. Clear?
Yes, sir.
So it should be perpendicular to both magnetic field and velocity. Velocity, do no, apply the formula and check. No. F is equal to Q into V vector cross B vector. V is in I cap. B is in K cap. What is I cross K?
J, sir. J cap.
I cross K is J.
Minus J.
This minus J. I cross K is minus J. Okay. So the electric force is in the upward direction and the magnetic force is in the downward direction. And so there are only two forces. One is due to electric field, one is due to magnetic field. If these forces get nullified, then the particle will be able to move in a horizontal path. Right? So for the particle to move in a horizontal path, the electrostatic force should be equal to the magnetic force. Cancel both of them. V should be equal to E divided by V. Okay.
Understood, sir.
So there is something given at the bottom. Read it out. This condition can be used to select charged particles of a particular velocity out of a beam containing charges moving with different speeds irrespective of their charge by mass ratio. So the crossed electric and magnetic fields, when I say crossed, it means perpendicular. The crossed electric and magnetic fields therefore serve as velocity selectors. Means only those particles which have the value of E by T can pass undeflected through the region of crossed fields, means through the region of perpendicular fields. Okay, this is what Thomson used to measure the charge by mass ratio of an electron. Okay, so this is what we call it as velocity selector. The next concept is cyclotron. So let me show you what a cyclotron and how it looks like.
cyclotron.
Listen, I'm going to share my screen. Hope you're able to see, right? Now I'm going to ask you certain questions, so be alert.
One of the most interesting applications of motion of charged particles in
See, this is how a cyclotron actually looks like. This is a schematic diagram. So if you want to talk about the motion of a charged particle in electric and magnetic fields, where you're interested to accelerate a charged particle, okay, accelerate in the sense, increase the speed of the charged particle, which can be used in the process of collisions, okay, or some other reaction. If you want a reaction where you need a fast moving particle, then you can use this device. And inside this device, what happens is there is both electric and magnetic fields existing.
electric and magnetic fields is the cyclotron. It is a machine used to accelerate charged particles.
So this is the thing.
And M.S. Livingston.
So you read it out. It is a machine used to accelerate charged particles. So Evo Lawrence and M.S. Livingston invented this machine in the year 1934.
Invented this machine in 1934. Let us first try to understand what a cyclotron is made up of on a fundamental level. Well, to start with, we have...
See, this is how a cyclotron is going to exist. So you have an electromagnet, right? You have an electromagnet which continuously generates magnetic field. These blue color lines are there, right? These are the magnetic field lines.
An electromagnet which continuously generates a magnetic field, as shown here. Here, the magnetic field goes from the bottom to the top. Inside this magnetic field, we have two.
Okay. Inside this magnetic field, what they do is they keep two metallic plates which are in the shape of D. Okay, they keep two metallic plates which are in the shape of D. These are also called as Ds, D-E-E-S, because they are in the shape of the letter D. Okay, have this in your mind.
Metallic plates D1 and D2. They're also called Ds, as they are in the shape of the letter D. Both these magnetic fields are connected to an alternating electric source, which changes.
Okay. Now, why metallic plate is used is because we want conductors where these conductors are connected to an alternating source. You are able to see a patch here, a clip-like structure here and here. So these are the polarities that will keep changing with respect to time. So have this in your mind. Okay. So here what I would like to conclude is, when you have two electromagnets like this, these electromagnets are having magnetic field between them. Magnetic field is from the north pole to the south pole. These two Ds, which are metallic plates, they are connected to electric source where there will be an electric field that is getting generated in a particular direction. Okay.
Changes the polarity of the electric field periodically. Now imagine a charged particle P, a proton, for example.
See, you are able to see a dot, right? If that charged particle is kept there, okay, a charged particle is kept there, kept in the sense its velocity is 0. Okay. So when the velocity of the particle is 0, what will be the value of magnetic force the particle is going to experience? Use Lorentz force and tell me. What is the value of magnetic force that is going to experience, guys? I asked a very simple question. The velocity of the particle is 0. What will be the value of magnetic force experienced by it? F is equal to Q into V cross beta. V is how much?
Sir, is it 0, sir?
Zero. It is zero. Because
Okay,
velocity is
sir.
velocity is zero, you put the value of velocity 0 in the Lorentz force. So force is 0. Means it is not going to move at all. In this case, it will not move because velocity is 0. Right? So to put this charged particle in motion, what we need to do is, the metallic plates are there, no? In those metallic plates, one of the metallic plates will be given positive sign and the other one will be given negative sign. So when that is happening, when there is a positive and a negative terminal that is existing, what will happen to the so suppose the proton is here, okay? If one of the plates is given positive sign and the other is given negative sign, what will happen to it?
The negative side will attract it.
Yes. So there will be an electric field in this direction. So due to this electric field, the particle experiences a force in the direction of electric field. When it experiences a force in the electric field, in the direction of electric field, it starts attaining some velocity. Correct? So the direction in which it is attaining the velocity, if you observe, it is perpendicular to the magnetic field, because here these dots represent the magnetic field. Dots represent the magnetic field is towards us. So velocity is in this direction, magnetic field is towards us. So what will happen when a charged particle is projected into the magnetic field perpendicular to it?
Circular path.
Very good. So it starts moving in a circular path. Right? It is going to move in a circular path and again it should come out. But here the problem is, if this plate is going to have negative charge forever, if the D is going to have negative charge forever, what will happen is the positively charged particle, whichever is projected, will go and stick to this plate. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. So for that to be avoided, what should happen is the
So
polarity.
is that why we have alternating current to change the polarity?
That's what I'm telling the reason why it is alternating.
Okay.
Okay. So it is because it is going to get attracted here. We need to ensure that the polarities are changed with respect to time. When you change the polarity, what will happen? See, first what will happen is, as soon as the charged particle goes in this direction, it is getting velocity in this direction, which was initially at rest. Due to this velocity, which is perpendicular to magnetic field, the particle starts moving in a circular path. Right? When it is in circular path, then what you need to do is, by the time it completes half a circle, you need to make this as negative and this as positive, so that the particle is going to experience more force. Why more force? Is because initially when it was at rest itself, it got some value of acceleration. But now it is already in motion and there is a force existing. So what will happen is its velocity will increase even more. As a result of it, since the velocity is increasing, the radius will also increase. R is equal to mv by qb. So radius and velocity are directly proportional to each other. So when velocity is increasing, the force will also increase. Hence, the radius of the circular path will increase. Again, what are we supposed to do? By the time half the circle is completed in the other D, again, change the polarity. So if you keep changing the polarity, what will happen is, the particle will neither be in a straight line path nor in a circular path. Rather, it will follow a spiral path. It is spiral, not that helical path. It is spiral. Okay, the particle is going to move in a spiral path and its velocity will increase, and at one particular instant, it will gain more amount of velocity. Now see the video, you will have a better clarity.
Is at the center of the cyclotron. This proton will be attracted towards the negative plate, D2. As it enters the plate, it is acted upon by the magnetic field, and we know that a charge moving with a velocity v perpendicular to the magnetic field B will move in a circular fashion. As soon as the proton exits the plate and enters the gap, the polarity of the plates changes, and D1 becomes negatively charged. Hence, B will now get attracted towards D and will accelerate towards it. This increases the energy of the particle P. As it enters D1 due to the magnetic field, it will start moving along a circular path. But this time, as it got accelerated while entering, the radius of the circular path will be more. Again, as it exits D1, the polarity gets reversed. And now, D2 gets negatively charged. Hence, B will now get attracted towards D2 and will accelerate towards it. This increases the energy of the particle P further. As it enters D2 due to the magnetic field, it will start moving along a circular path. But this time, as it got accelerated while entering, the radius of the circular path will be more. This cycle continues, and the particle P keeps on moving spirally. To maintain this spiral movement, the polarities of the Ds has to be
So this is an important point, guys.
T by 2.
So I told you, no, the polarities will get reversed. Now the question is, within what time interval are we supposed to change the polarity? Please write it down. To maintain the spiral moment, the polarities of the Ds have to be reversed in a time interval of T by 2, where T is the time period of the revolution. Okay.
Where T is the period of revolution of the particle. T equals 1 by Bc, which equals 2 by m divided.
So we know the time period of a particle which is moving in a circular path or helical path, or for that matter any round path, is going to be 2 pi m. Students, sorry, there was some network issue. So we see that the time period is equal to 2 pi m divided by qb. So time period is independent of velocity. So what will be the frequency? It will be qb divided by 2 pi m. And this frequency is what is called a cyclotron frequency. I've already told you. This is the device cyclotron. Okay. Now we will proceed.
By Q times B, or Bc equals Q times B divided by 2 pi m. This frequency Vc is also called cyclotron frequency. If we denote the applied voltage as Va, then the requirement is Va equals Vc. This condition is called the resonance condition.
So make a note of this point. So if we denote the applied voltage as Va, then the requirement is Va is equal to Vc. Means the frequency of the applied voltage should be equal to the cyclotron frequency. Then we can say that they both are in resonance. Okay. Now moving on to the next
It's
part.
called the
Okay, sir.
resonance. Once the particles are accelerated to the required speed, they are then deflected using a magnetic field.
See what will happen to the speed of the particle.
They then leave the system via an exit slit. This accelerated particle can then be used for bombarding other atoms, molecules, or solids according to the requirement. we know that V equals Q.
So is it clear till this step, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now it's all about derivation only. So what is the frequency? F is equal to QB divided by 2 pi m. This is known. Okay. Similarly, R will be equal to MB divided by QB. But here remember, the particle is going to leave. It is going to start at the center of D, and it is going to leave from one end of the D. So the radius of the maximum radius of the circular path is going to be capital R, where capital R is the radius of one of the D's. So capital R is equal to MB divided by QB. So V will be equal to Q into B into R divided by M. I hope this point is also clear. Right. So what are the energy I told you that the particle is going to have? Energy is equal to half mv square. This is half into m into what is the value of V? It is QBR divided by M. QBR divided by M the whole square, which is going to be Q square B square R square divided by 2M. So this is going to be the energy of the particle before, or energy of the particle with which it is going to leave the cyclotron. Okay.
So,
Q square.
this, sir.
Tell me.
So this is the kinetic energy of the organ, sir.
Yes, there is the kinetic energy of the particle by the time it is leaving the cyclotron. Okay. It's Q square B square R square divided by 2 into M. Clear, guys?
Yes,
So
sir.
this is all about the charged particle which is moving in a magnetic field, combined electric and magnetic field, and what happens for a cyclotron also. Okay. So I'm going to stop today with this. Next class we will discuss what will happen when a current carrying conductor is placed in magnetic field, which is a concept which you would have learned in your lower grades. You would have seen a formula like F is equal. I don't think you would have seen the formula. Anyways, we will see what will happen when a current carrying conductor is placed in external magnetic field in tomorrow's class. Okay. So revise all these concepts and come before tomorrow's class. Any other doubt
Okay,
from
sir.
today's class?
No doubt, sir.
Good. Okay, you can leave.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.